Yes people, Shifty e-bikes back at it again today. We've got something a little bit different. Normally I'm singing the praises of the Ultra Bee and how good it is, but today I'm actually going to be giving you the 5 things that I absolutely hate about this bike. There is a few things that you're going to want to know before you buy one of these bikes, because it is a bit of a deal breaker, some of them. Stay tuned to the end of the video. Let's go. Yes people, we're out on the bike. Going to tell you the 5 things that I hate about this Ultra Bee. It is something you have to think about and likely upgrade at some point in the future. So, number 1, even with the stock controller, even before I upgraded to this VTB, there is quite a large gap and a hole around the back of the controller at the side of the frame, down this way, that does allow a fair bit of mud and crap and that to get in. When you're out and you're getting your bike filthy, a lot of that dirt can get through that hole in the bottom and just sit behind the controller, so it does just make it a real lot more difficult to clean your bike properly. So what I've done to remedy this is, basically because I've got the VTB, this won't work with the stock controller. I have bought the EBMX. I'll show you a bit of a cleaner photo because it's grafted at the minute. But basically these little covers that stop all this dirt getting into here. And I know obviously it has got really dirty, but can you imagine if this wasn't here, how much dirt would actually be getting behind that? I did absolutely hate that gap. I have put the EBMX one on. You do have to modify it a little bit to work with the VTB, but if you look at how much stuff it's already caught, that would have been in and at all the electrics of the bike, which is not something you're going to want if you're planning on keeping your bike for a while, because eventually you're going to start getting into issues, electrical problems, which aren't the easiest to diagnose and aren't the easiest to sort. So yeah, them little covers, I did hate that I had a big gap before, but I've managed to sort it basically. It is sortable, but that did cost me about 80 quid for that, so it's not cheap considering it is just to cover the gap. If I had a 3D printer or a mate that had a 3D printer, then that might be a little bit different, because I'd have done a plastic one really and saved the weight as well. Not that it weighs anything really, but all adds up, doesn't it? So yeah, number 1, that gap behind the actual controller that allows all the rubbish to get in that you would not want at all your electrical components on an expensive bike like this. Another thing that I don't like, well, I hate, because it's a hate video, it doesn't actually have an off switch for the light. It's got main beam and full beam, but there's no actual little clicker in the middle that can turn the light fully off. So if you're wanting to be a bit stealthy and go out on a night in places that you probably shouldn't be, then you're probably going to need to put in a light switch yourself, which I'm going to be doing shortly because it's getting to winter, so it's getting dark and that, so I'd like to be able to personally turn it off. You could argue that in effect, having the light on all the time can drain a little bit of battery. So if you had a switch for the tail light and a switch for the headlight, then potentially, it's not going to be a lot. I'm not saying you're going to get an extra 20% battery, but not having a headlight and a tail light on the full time you're out riding, personally, I think could get you a couple more miles. So yeah, a light switch would be something that I would have thought came on a bike as advanced as this, but unfortunately not. Another thing that I absolutely hate, and I did actually hate this is one of the few things I did hate, was the stock tail tardy that came on the bike. So the stock tail tardy goes about 6 foot behind the bike and just hangs over, but it doesn't even make sense why it's that far, because you've got a real lot of room to put the plate probably a foot closer to the bike. So that was my thing. I did buy a injection molded type, it was 3D printed anyway, it wasn't injection molded, a 3D printed tail tardy, but eventually after a couple of months that tail tardy did end up cracking. I was at an enduro event, I was thrashing it quite hard, even with hammering the bike like I was, that's the only time it got a little crack. But then once it cracked a little bit, it started having a little bit of chatter, it started bending a little bit, and then eventually it did snap off. So if you're a road user, this 3D printed one would be perfect, but failing that, I have got another solution, because after that I didn't want to buy another one of them for it to happen again eventually. I wanted something I could have some confidence in. So what I did was I took the old bracket, which is a metal bracket, and I cut at 2 separate points and aluminium welded it back together. So it's not the easiest thing aluminium welding in the world, but you'll be able to take it somewhere and they'll be able to do it for you if you just sort of cut and cleaned it all up like they would want you to do. And that sort of made it exactly the same as the injection molded, the 3D printed, I keep saying injection molded, as the same as the 3D printed one, but obviously a lot stronger. In the same breath, and not a lot of people can aluminium weld, or even weld in general, to be honest. It is a bit of a fine art, but if you give me a message, I might be able to sort you out. You might just take the tail tidy off, send it to me, send it a few quid for doing it, and I'll send it back to you in the post, you know what I mean? It is doable and I will do it for people. So far I've got two things that I hated on the bike, but I've changed them since. The light switch is coming. It's not a difficult job, to be honest, but I just keep putting it off because I can't be bothered to do it. Sometimes you just want to get out and ride your bike, you know what I mean? Another thing I do hate on the Ultra Bee, I don't really hate it, it's not a must at the minute for me, but it's definitely something I've been thinking about. The stock wheel setup with the 19 at the front and the 18 at the rear, I do think the 18 at the rear is okay. I could put a wider tyre on if I wanted to. I'm not limited to the tyre that it's got. I could put a big Michelin tracker on it and I'll be all good, really. The issue is the front wheel. So because the front wheels are 19, the bike does kind of feel front heavy. It does nosedive a little bit if you're not sort of on the throttle and popping the wheel up when you're going over things. If you just allow the wheel to sort of drop into the holes, it will feel like you are dropping and nosediving quite frequently, which obviously isn't really something you want. And it is a big bike, so once you nosedive, you do know about it, because there's a lot of weight nosediving at that point. This can obviously be remedied quite easy with a 21-inch wheel. If you're going to get a 21-inch wheel, which I will be getting for this Ultra Bee, just finances are a little bit tight at the minute, but I will be getting a wheel set for this from WGT Racing. I shout these out all the time because this is the guy for bike parts. Whether it's actual power upgrades, whether it's CNC parts, wheels, literally anything, this guy is the man at the minute. And if you are buying wheel set or a VTB controller, you can use discount code SHIFTY at the checkout and that will give you some money off. Eventually, the weather being like this extra power, it just skids. So eventually you are going to need them wheels. WGT all the way. You cannot go wrong with his parts. He's such a sound lad. Big up WGT. He's doing such big things for the community. And he's an actual rider. He actually rides these bikes and he has rode these bikes for years. Big up WGT. Code SHIFTY at the checkout. Get yourself a VTB or some wheels. Doesn't have to be Ultra Bee related as well. This can be for little talarias, stings, light bees. Can be anything. Another thing that I don't really like about the Ultra Bee, which is a bit of a positive in one breath, but the reason why I think it's a bad thing, you'll understand. So basically, if you don't already know, you can take the seat off this Ultra Bee and you have got a little under-seat compartment where you can store a few things. This is great, and yeah, some things that you are putting in there are perfect, and it does really make a big difference that you can just slam underneath that. The issue is, for me, you can't fit a full-size drinks bottle or a can. I know you may not want a can, but you can't fit a full-size drink bottle in there and still shut the seat. It annoys me because everybody's like, oh yeah, you can just take a drink, take out a sandwich with you and all that, but if you actually try and put it in, it's a lot more difficult than it looks just to bang a sandwich in there. Obviously, most people aren't bringing out a sandwich and a drink and all that shit, and if they are, they're bringing a backpack. I've got a backpack on now. When I think about it, being in the actual bike where there's loads of vibration and loads of movement, it probably wouldn't be the best idea. You definitely wouldn't put a can in there. But yeah, you can't really fit that much in the under-seat compartment, which kind of annoys me. Don't get me wrong, all these things that I'm saying that I hate, when you think about them, most of them are upgradable easily, and the other ones are quite petty, to be honest. The under seat compartment, not many people will even use that for what it is. So, oh, that comes my way. Reverse. So yeah, the little drinks compartment underneath isn't really a drinks compartment, it's more of a... You could put your phone in there, I suppose, but personally, in my opinion, if you're putting your phone in there, it's got to be in like a little plastic bag or wrapped in a glove or something. It's got to be wrapped in a glove or something, so basically it doesn't vibrate and rattle about to a point where... Oh, fuck. It doesn't vibrate and rattle to a point where your phone's knackered after you finish. I know your phones can take some vibration and that, but not really on a Surron. So as you can see, there's not that many things that are actually that bad on this bike. Most of the things that are bad, I have managed to rectify, obviously with the covers and stuff. Obviously coming in the future will be a wheel set coming from WGT Racing, you already know. Code Shifty at checkout, obviously if you didn't see that earlier. Thank you for watching, make sure you stay tuned to next week. Videos, weekly uploads, you know the vibes. See you next week. Bye!